It's 6 o'clock, so let's call this meeting to order. Amy, could you take roll call, please?
Sure. Ms. Hoffman?
Here.
Ms. Berghoop?
Here.
Ms. Strain? Here. Mr. Tucker?
Here.
And Mayor Bogenreith is absent.
Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the June 2 minutes?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner, Department Head, and Community Board reports.
I just start by saying I visited with, after last meeting, I visited with LG Everest. They are reconsidering moving the site to the south. I sent them the video of the meeting, and I think we'll be hearing something from them over the next couple months, or the next month or so.
I'd like to make sure that we follow up on that too, and make sure that, because I think we've been messing with it long enough. I think we need to kind of do something and kind of figure out what they're going to do.
In addition to that, I've asked Sarah to give me a memo spelling out what we can do and what we can't do in regards to planning and zoning. Also looking at other planning and zoning issues in that area too, just to make sure that we're covering all the bases for everyone. So there'll be an extensive review. But I would ask that the commission wait until they get Sarah's memorandum on our abilities before making any judgment.
I just got a question. Is it possible to create an ordinance for them? I mean, if they're not, could we create something to put a little teeth in what's going on so we can?
I'll further advise in our memorandum, but railroad properties are really governed by federal law, and there is a preemption of any state or local ordinances. And so our abilities to regulate those railroad properties are very limited.
Just seems crazy to me that we would have a business or an entity inside North Sioux City proper that we can't do anything with. It just seems crazy to me.
Well, it's constitutional law as far as the preemptory power of the federal government. And that goes back to when railroads were started and they were going across the nation. And as you're doing that, they were protected by federal law from encountering each new community's regulations and different changes and that kind of thing. So
I'd still like to know if there is something that we can do, if we can help some of these people out with some of this stuff.
sure, we'll follow up on that. I will be
Thank
in
you.
touch with Mr. Dooley.
Thank you.
I'd like to report that Rusty gave me a tour, since I'm Utilities Commissioner, of all the water treatment facilities we have in town and all the lift stations. And that was really, really informative. I think most of us or all of us take it for granted that somebody is checking our water every day of the year, holiday, rain or snow, whatever, and checking to make sure everything is up and running and in good working order. So that was a great tour. And also with that, one thing that's becoming more of an issue is swings in our city's water usage, largely due to watering lawns. So it would be great if, I don't think we want to take the time to do an ordinance for something like this right now, but it would be great if our customers that water their lawns, if they could just voluntarily, if you have odd numbered addresses, water on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and even numbers, maybe Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, just so we even out our peaks. It's not necessarily about using less water, but just if we use a whole bunch of water one day and then not very much the next day, just for the chemical usage and just keeping the plant running smoothly, it just would help everybody out a lot. So that'd be helpful.
North Sioux City doesn't currently have an irrigation ordinance. It's something the commission can consider, but some irrigation ordinances are put in place, not necessarily because of shortage of water, but just like Julie said, to even out the peaks, and so it's a better managed system. So.
Hello, I'm Leanne from the library, and I'm coming before you today for a request for consideration between the relationship between the library board and the commission here. I was asked to present maybe a little reason why that is important. Historically, the library has had what we would say a liaison from this commission. It was the council before, of course, on our library board. That person that has been the liaison before is a full voting member of our Board of Trustees. I did look up the codified law that talks about that member, and the wording in it, and maybe if you can help me make sure that I am translating this correctly. What it says in here is, in addition to 5 appointees, which we have 5 trustees that currently, the governing body, meaning you, may, and I circled may, appoint one of its own members to serve as a full voting member of the Public Library Board of Trustees during the member's term of office. I'm looking at that word may, and I consider that maybe you can, or maybe you don't have to. But I would really advocate for one of you to be an active member on our board. I just think that it gives validity to our board. It helps us to, you guys have a pulse on what the community wants, what the community is requesting. So I think that that is a very realistic desire for us to have on our library board. We want to be in tune with the library, or with what the community wants, and I think that this commission is the place that really has those resources. Right now, we don't have that person, the last person that was on. Historically, we've always had someone, so the last person that was on was through the last council, and that was Joni Christensen. So we've been without someone for quite a while due to the fact that we're changing over, but I'm just bringing that before you for consideration and hope that you will consider that, and if you have any questions, be happy to answer.
How often do you guys meet?
We meet for once a quarter, so 4 times a year. And it usually is, half an hour to, or excuse me, hour and a half to 2 hour meeting, because we're discussing a lot in that amount of time.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. I hope you'll consider being part of our board.
We'll try to get that on a future agenda to take action on that, Leanne.
All right, that sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to give you a little tiny update on North Shore. It's been really busy out there with the Three Oaks moving dirt, Steve Harris doing some concrete work, and the school doing some stuff. We put temporary 15-mile-an-hour schools, or 15-mile-an-hour speed limit signs up, and also today I had some signs made up for work zone and road breakup. I did some work today where the water issue was and had it shaved down and put together, but the road's starting to come apart in some spots, so I had some temporary signs made and we're going to put up tomorrow, so that's all I got.
So a bid you'll be considering later has some provisions in it for repairing some of that stuff, but with the work going on McCook Lake right now, we'd like to just try to baby it along until that work is done, and then we can maybe put a little bit of a better fix on it. We've also kind of posted it as a construction zone, so I would strongly suggest that if anybody that to be careful on that road, and if this becomes too much of a problem, to take the the detour around like we had it during the closure. This is probably going to be a thing at least until the end of summer, until we can really get a good fix on it, so.
Anybody else?
Hi. I appreciate last week. I know a lot of you weren't aware of what was going on, with the new commission going on, and we appreciate you listening to us. One thing I don't understand is, we're not talking the railroad, we're talking the LG Everest transload operation, which was supposed to be just a temporary one because of the flood. And I don't know, I have a hard time believing that we can't get some ordinance. A lot of it has to do with interpretation of our laws and of our ordinances. And I don't really believe the city of North Sioux City, not just us, but they really want this rock transload operation going on in the middle of North Sioux City. So I appreciate your time, and please take all that into consideration. Thank you.
Thanks. We'll open it up to other community input if there's any. If you could sign in, Anna, too.
Sure. Good thing I brought my pen with me. I have two questions. When they do Penrose, is there just going to be one sidewalk on the east side?
That is my intention to ask for a change order,
Okay.
to change order to one side of the sidewalk. Now, whether that's accepted or not is wait to be seen, but we have to have time to formulate that.
Okay. And then the other is this temporary pedestrian path. Are you guys going to get reimbursed for what you're going to do until they put in a permanent one?
No,
So,
whatever, and that's being considered as a future, that's on the agenda later on. Anything they would do temporary is just at the city's expense.
well, I think the city could put that money to better use than for something that's only going to be there for 4 months. That's a lot of money for just something for 4 months.
Fair enough.
So, but I appreciate all the stuff you guys have been doing so far. I mean, I know it's a mess, but it always has to get a little worse before it gets better.
There you go.
But
Yep.
you guys have been helping out a lot, and I appreciate that.
Thanks, Anna.
I'm Randy Smith from, on 13 Penrose. As far as our temporary road that we have to use to go, if we don't use the mud trail that comes off of North Shore, if we have to go behind the school, it might be nice to maybe have a little bit of road work out there, because that thing is just rougher than heck and full of holes, and if you got a small car, you're gonna rub your bottom. And then Friday when I went home, I couldn't get in there because baseball people had parked there. So I had to go down the sidewalk, through the ditch and around.
Yeah, we had those conversations this morning. Rusty and I were out there. We'll get some more gravel on there.
Thank you.
Nancy Albright from 221 West Shore Drive. I just have a couple of follow-up questions. A couple of weeks ago, I brought to your attention the Schindler lawsuit from Sioux Falls. Has anybody followed up on that?
I have not.
I did find it, I looked at it, and from what I got out of it, that is the lawsuits that would come against the city, and they settled with their insurance company.
So that would be something the residents would have to take up against the city? Or because it's Sioux City's issue, would the city of North Sioux take it up with
Sioux City? or
Sioux Falls? I'm sorry, Sioux Falls.
I don't know who's,
Is this worth looking into for us as residents, or is this just a
I
we should
think
do it
it's worth looking into, but I think our priorities are helping the people that were most affected by the flood, and we probably do have to investigate it at some point. I think we're just prioritizing helping our people right here, and we don't want to do anything that jeopardizes or slows down getting things put back together.
If it's all right with the commission, could we ask Sarah to just kind of give us a summary of that lawsuit and what the particulars are, and then maybe you can consider it for action later on. But I would not want to weigh in on that. I'm not a lawyer, but we can have Sarah do it.
So one of the questions I have is when we bring things to your attention, do they get followed up on? Because this has been 3 to 4 weeks since I've asked this question. So I don't like to rehash things here, but it's important to me to know. So how
We
can
have not forgotten about it. We've just been working on other items, but we have not forgotten about it.
And I understand that, but my perception is I feel it was swept under the rug.
I don't believe that was anyone's intent.
Okay. My second question was the last meeting, a question was brought before the commission about building permits. I didn't feel there was a yes or no question. That was a yes or no answer.
I think I answered that. Yes, we are issuing building permits, but anybody that would take a building permit in the areas that were severely damaged, I would have a conversation with them about that, and I answered that very directly.
Okay, my next question on that is, if we had damage in the flood and we need a building permit, will we be charged for that building permit?
Yes.
Is that something you could consider not charging residents that had flood damage?
That would be up to the commission.
Is that something you could talk about?
I think we're working on that flood recovery program, and that's definitely one of the things that we're discussing with that. We just haven't been able to, we aren't quite far enough to reveal all of that yet, but I think it would be my intent anyway to either waive those building permits. I think that's an easy way to help somebody that we can easily do, but also I think that if people can't wait for that, so if they want a building permit, perhaps we can have a look-back period and reimburse
We've already
for that.
issued 3 building permits.
Right.
So that should probably answer your question to whether or not we're going to issue building permits on North Shore. They've paid the fees, so let me try to estimate that for you.
Because it's a percentage of building cost is how the building permit fees go.
Right, so, yeah, it's just something you guys will have to decide, and if you want me to bring forth a proposal, I can put one together for you. But we need to specify, is it a building permit for just a house that was totally destroyed, or half destroyed, or, is it, what is it? Is it just in that area? Because there'll be a time when other houses get destroyed by a tornado or whatever, and we got to keep in mind how we tackle these issues and know that we'll be addressing them some other time. Might not be this commission, but it will be someone else, so.
Well, I believe, in my opinion, in this disaster, it was not something that we could control, but it could have been controlled better by the city. And I feel anyone that had damage and needs a building permit from the flood should be able to have the building permit issued without a fee. That's my opinion.
We'll take that into consideration.
Thank you. My last item is, for the past 2 weeks, we've had an issue with our garbage pickup. 2 weeks ago, we had one of our cans picked up and the second not. I did contact the city. The garbage collector had left town for the weekend on a Thursday. And we were told to pile up our garbage until the following week, which it was very hot that weekend. We have filthy bins come in and clean our cans every other week, and so we didn't get our garbage cans picked up, cleaned. Last week, the garbage was picked up after 5 p.m. Filthy bins came out 3 times to try to clean our bins. So this is a small business that we're trying to help, and we also enjoy having our garbage cans cleaned, but I don't particularly care for our garbage pickup right now. I don't know if there's an option that we can leave. Our city have get out of the city contract and go to another contractor to get our garbage picked up. But again, our garbage was very smelly. I now have dirty garbage cans for the third week, and I don't appreciate having to have this service paid for and not being able to use it. So could that be looked into?
We will look into it. I know the last council just switched vendors last fall, I believe. And do they have a 3-year contract?
Yes.
And I'm not sure if it says stipulates in the contract what time of day they actually come.
Well, if we want to support our small businesses in this community, I would think that they would try to be consistent on the time they're picked up so that Filthy Bins could then have a run at cleaning the garbage cans. Unfortunately, they had to pay someone to come out 3 times on our street, and then they didn't get to clean the garbage, so they're out that money. So I would like to have that looked into, and if we could leave our service, because we've been recommended by Filthy Bins that there's a better service in Windstone, they can pick up the garbage, and they rotate their schedule to accommodate Filthy Bins.
We'll try to look into that.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nancy. Is there any other community input?
Hello, my name is Rosa and I live on 16 Penrose, and I do have a couple questions. I just got here, so I go from one place to another. Are you guys considering the time change, because 6 o'clock is just not working out? You guys are it's very hard for me to get here.
I think that's something we discussed.
I don't know if you guys discussed that before I got here, because, I mean, I'm going from one job to hurry up, pick up my son, and come here. I keep missing these meetings, and I have a lot of concerns and questions. So is it something that maybe you guys can push it back to 7 o'clock?
You can contact me with your concerns and questions. I can get them to the commission. We did talk about the 6 o'clock start time for several meetings before they took action on it.
I would love to contact you and email you and stuff like that, but I am really busy when I'm at work. I go from one job to another. I do not have the time. I wish I could, but I don't. So that's on me. I'm not saying it's on you. That's on me. If I could, I would, but I'm working right now 2 jobs, sometimes even 3, trying to get this foundation done because you guys of what happened. I don't have the luxury. I don't have the time.
Well, I guess we can discuss alternate time.
I get 30 minutes of lunch. Those 30 minutes, they're very tight squeezed. And so that being said, I hope you guys can even just in the summer or something, I don't know. I am really having a hard time. Furthermore, I mean, with the streets trying to get fixed and everything, I know that you guys have been great at updating us, keeping us posted and stuff like that, but July 7th or the 14th, I'm going to get my foundation hopefully fixed. What's it going to be, the main road going to look like? Because they need to get bobcats through there and stuff like that. If we have to go through the school, I mean, it's kind of hard to do.
We'll get them back there. We'll get them back there.
Okay, thank you, because that's something I also wanted to know.
Have your contractor contact us. We'll make sure they get back there.
Okay.
We'll make arrangements.
Okay, just because that's what was one of my concerns. I turned off my shed because I had to do it to get my foundation, get it put in. Is that something I need to get a permit to get it back on?
You would need to submit a permit application, whether or not the commission waives the permit fee. That's a different decision, but I would say yes, you would have to submit just a permit application to make sure that it's placed in the right spot and all that stuff.
Because am I going to have to do that if I decide to, because I'm going to have my deck fixed, because that's something that also got damaged. Am I going to have a permit for that too?
I would think you'll have to have a permit. Whether or not you get charged the fee is another question.
Well, I kind of need to, I'm not familiar with these things, so I don't know. That's why I'm asking, like, okay, if I was to get a deck, my contractor's going to go, do I have to? even like with this foundation, am I supposed to get a building permit?
Have your contractor contact the city, and we'll get with them and figure out exactly what you're doing, what needs to be permitted, what doesn't need to be permitted, and we'll get them going in the right direction for you. You don't have to take care of that. We can work with your contractor on that.
Okay, just because like I'm saying, if I could contact you guys, I would. I don't have the time right now. My son is in wrestling in the summer, he's in football. I am just a single mom, and my time is very limited.
Fair enough. Like I
Just like
said,
your guys' time it is, I respect that, and I respect everything you guys are doing, but I don't.
like I said, just have your contractor contact us. We'll work with them and get them pointed in the right direction. We do it all the time with other projects, so
Okay.
I don't think you have to handle that.
Okay, so then my other question is, I don't know if you guys are familiar where I live, but behind my house is John Roos Farm. What's the plan behind that? Are you guys planning on to fill the dirt?
I
or
thought
is it
John
all
filled
back-
that, didn't he, or not?
Not back there by Penrose.
Oh, he hasn't yet, okay. I know he's in the process, yeah.
It's just because, I mean, every time it rains, like these couple days that's been raining hard and stuff, a little bit of the dirt that we put in back there keeps coming down, which my neighbor was nice enough to do that since she has a bobcat, but I kind of just want to know where we're at, what is the plan, what is the idea of, you guys planning on doing, are you guys going to fill it? Are you guys going to do something else back there?
John would have to fill it if that's his ground, but we'll talk to John Roost. Find out what his plans are, or if he's got a schedule, or what he's got.
I just wanted to know, because I can understand where he's coming from, I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to fill it if, what the other people are going to do, or if you guys have some other project in mind. That's my only, I can see where he might be coming from. I have not talked to him or anything like that. I just wanted to see if you guys knew, or what's the plan behind that.
We'll have to talk to him about it.
Thank you.
Is there any other community input? If not, let's move on to our other agenda items, the North Shore Reconstruction Project.
So, I didn't know if you wanted me to read through that or not. We did receive 4 bids last week for the parking lot rehab project, as well as maintenance to the North Shore Drive project, the temporary asphalt that was put in. So the apparent low bidder, the low bidder was Barclay Asphalt. The base bid included the parking lot repairs, and it also included repairs to North Shore. We had an add alternate for a gravel trail along North Shore that added up to about $73,000. And we had an add alternate for an asphalt trail along North Shore, so that you council members could actually make a decision if you wanted to do either or one of them or the other one. And so the base bid for the asphalt repairs is $232,274.40. We recommend approval. Those bids were competitive. They're within a few $1,000s of our estimate. We feel they're in order, and we recommend awarding the base bid. The add alternates were also very competitive, and we feel that if you choose to go with either one of them, they are very competitive, and we would suggest that you move forward with them if you so choose to spend that money. That is something that alternate 1 and alternate 2 and the parking lot rehab are not funded by FEMA. So keep that in mind. Those will be funds of your own. The parking lot rehab, you did receive a small grant from Foundation.
Missouri River Historical
Yeah.
District or something.
And I think it was like $25,000, so there was a little bit of help with that one. So we'd recommend approval of the base bid at a minimum. And I'd be glad to answer any questions you have about the asphalt trail or the gravel trail.
Just one, let me just add something in regards to the base bid, and the reason I put this on the agenda in a couple of different items is I'd like you to consider the base bid, because that is the most important one, and then we can talk about the alternatives. But focusing on the base bid of $232,274, Barclay Asphalt was the winner of that bid. They're also doing the school's portion of the parking lot, which has to do with what Lieber used to haul in the dirt for the back of the school. So that'll be a good synergy to get a good product for the entire parking lot between the school's project and our project. And the school has been generous enough to extend their work period, or their work end date, from July 15th to August 1st to allow us more time to utilize that road in the back for access to Penrose. So as John said, Stockwell recommends the base bid, and I would also recommend it, both on pricing and for completion of the project.
Can we have a motion for the consideration of the base bid before we discuss the trail?
Originally, I had asked that we have the bike trail, but after talking with several people, we don't have a lot of bicycle activity there because it is such a mess, and especially now with all the construction. So I would make a motion that we only award the base bid work at this time.
I second that.
All in favor, or any other discussion? I would just like to add that I'm afraid if we do add a trail, that it encourages people to be in that area, and it gives the illusion of safety when it's really not safe. There's we have a lot of dirt to fill in, there's side dumps and big heavy trucks, and when you're a pedestrian, you don't always understand that when those trucks turn, their wheels go in places you don't expect them to, and they could run you over. So I would, I agree with Lynn.
I had Rusty, and after we approve this, we'll get to this bike trail part of it, but I asked Rusty to try to barricade that off so people can't use it as a trail, and make it clear that this is a construction zone, and that there's trucks and stuff there. So when we get into the bike trail portion of this, just know that we have taken steps to try to keep people off of there as far as pedestrian traffic goes.
So let's take a vote on that base bid as Lynn motioned. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Again, I think we would need, if it's the wish of the commission not to move forward with either the gravel trail or asphalt trail, just a motion to reject alternates 1 and 2. Fair?
Yes.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2025-06, emergency resolution imposing a temporary speed limit on North Shore Drive for construction activities.
Yeah, this was, we had some complaints from North Shore residents about some of the speed of not only the trucks, but other vehicles out there in the construction area. So we did post some 15-mile-an-hour speed limit signs that are a reduction of the normal 25-mile-per-hour speed limit there during construction, but we need a resolution by you to enforce that. Sarah's firm drafted the resolution, and once you pass that, then we can enforce it. Do you have anything to add to that, Sarah?
No, we just need to kind of officially have something on record. And it does direct that those signs be posted, so that's already been done. And this is what we call an emergency resolution. Because of the current state of construction and the ongoing usage of that, we are stating in this resolution that it would be effective immediately upon passage today. So typically, we would publish that, and it would go into the paper, and after a certain amount of time, it would go into effect. We've included the statutory language to make this an emergency resolution so that we can get that taken care of right now because of that ongoing construction issue.
And when would that end, Sarah?
The council would need to, or I'm sorry, the commission would need to take further action to withdraw that. So we'll do another resolution at the time period when it's ready for that to change. So to pass that, you would do a motion to approve Resolution 2025-06 with that title.
I'll make a motion to pass the resolution. What is it, 20, what did you say?
2025-06.
That one.
Emergency resolution imposing temporary speed limit on North Shore Drive due to construction activity.
I'll make a motion to pass that.
I'll second it. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
So now the police station, or the police department will be able to write tickets. Now, whether they do is up to their discretion. You know, there could be warnings, but it isn't, you can be now picked up for speeding over 15 miles an hour in that zone. And we have been patrolling it, so.
They're gonna need a lot of ticket books.
Hmm?
They're gonna need a lot of ticket books.
I'll be busy.
The last item on that, North Shore, is I just wanted to update you on these temporary drainage. If you recall, there's some low spots on there that will house permanent storm sewer infrastructure once the completion is done. But until then, I had put a proposal in front of you to put in some temporary drains. We approved, I think, around $35,000 to do that work, but I was unable to get the easements from one landowner, and I think the other one would be open to it, but he's going to be doing some dirt work there that's going to impede that here in the short term. I think we can still get something done there, but it's just going to be a little bit different configuration from what I originally proposed. So I'm going to have to visit with the contractor, adjust his price to go back to the original plan, which collects water at the west end and brings it down to the east end and then drains it to the lake. So I'll have to regroup a little bit on that. But in the meantime, Rusty has made an arrangement with MJ Minor to pump it off of there with a back truck when it rains. It's just going to be a little delay in getting that done to get the contractor out there and stuff. But so we'll have to bring you something back on that.
Thanks, Jeff. Streeter Drive Water Treatment Plant Expansion.
John Brown with Stockwell Engineers. Pay request number 17 is in front of you for progress payment for the water treatment plant expansion project, $356,931.84. We recommend approval of that pay request.
This is not the final.
Right.
We could expect the final here in the next 60 days.
Couple months, yeah, 60 days, couple months.
It's ready to be commissioned,
Yes.
hopefully by the end of the week.
I'll make the motion to approve pay request number 17.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Southwest Lift Station.
So Southwest Lift Station has been finalized. As part of that project, we always zero out all of our quantities and totals. And so if there are any additional quantities, for example, this project had a lot of unit values. So if we ended up installing more pipe, we'll pay the contractor for the actual pipe used. And if there's a deduct, that's deducted. In this case, we had several deducts, and it's because we had approved early on in the project the use of an alternate product, which helped save us some money in the long run, and it's now reflected in this decrease. This is $196,534.41 of a decrease in that contract value. And that's a variety of items throughout the list of project items. So I'd like to answer any questions if you have any on that, but we'd recommend approval of this change order.
I move to approve the change order.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. And pay estimate number 13.
So this is the Southwest Lift Station. This will be the 13 and final, so this is the final pay request. That means the contractor has completed all the punch list items. We've been able to work closely with them, making sure all the operations are working smoothly, and Rusty's been trained on it. And so this is the final pay request for that project, and we'd recommend approval of that for $37,209.70.
I'll make a motion to make the final payment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Centennial Drive Lift Station.
So Centennial Drive Lift Station is formerly known as Sioux Laundry Lift Station. We're changing some of the names. Before they were kind of suited more by the business they would buy instead of the street they're on, so we're kind of changing that. But the Centennial Drive Lift Station is one of the main lift stations in the business park that needs upgrading. And the previous council had voted to put it on the state water plan, which made it eligible for CDBG money. We then applied for the CDBG money to help pay for some of this. That was denied. This project would be eligible for the CDBG-DR money if that comes around. But I would like, what's in here, and I'll let John talk about it a little bit, is a work order to start the design of that project. It's design it to 30%. The reason I want to just bring it to 30% right now is if it becomes eligible for either EDA or CDBG money down the road, I want to be able to include as much design money in the grant agreement or the grant as I can. And if we sign an agreement today, it might make some of those costs ineligible. On the other hand, I want to keep it moving forward until we can secure a financial package for it. And so I asked John to present a work order for 30% design to keep this thing moving forward, with the idea that we will try to put together another funding package for it later this summer.
And so I'd just like to add to this. I mean, this lift station has been modified in the past. There's been some upgrades to it with Rail Canaan's expansion. There's plans for further expansion beyond the 6-year period. I do anticipate there being a need for this lift station being upsized a little bit as well for potential redevelopment of this area, since the Gateway complex is continuously appears to be upgraded or added to. We need to make sure we got some growth capacity to that lift station, and currently we do not have any capacity left in that lift station, very little, I should say, and we want to make sure that we expand that. Now, in the past, we've looked at alternatives to that, whether it be a phased approach. Maybe we just do a wet well now and add new pumps and the gravity sewer at a later date. And now, since then, we've came back with a plan to actually improve the lift station. The force main is adequate, so that, Jeff, to answer your question, we did go from a $5 million down to a $3.8 million project all in, You haven't committed to that at this point. What you're committing to at this point is a 30% design, so it doesn't mean that you have to go forward with everything that we're proposing here at this time, but it will give you options to move forward as we progress through time. Especially if we want to bid this this winter, January, February, we want to make sure we're moving this along so that we've got a design package ready to go when it's the appropriate time. And so I'd like to answer any questions you'd have for this.
I have
Yes,
one
Lynn?
question.
Yes.
I see that Royal Canaan's doing some work now. Is that at their treatment?
Yes, that's their treatment plant expansion. What they're doing internally there is adding some capacity, both for, there's some chemical improvements, there's some
Clarifier?
What's that?
Clarifier?
Clarifier, sorry, yes, clarifier, some other equipment that they had to improve on. They have a pre-treatment requirement to make sure that their waste is coming at us in a manner similar to domestic waste. So they do a pre-treatment process internally, and then they dump it to us. They dump it to the city, and then we submit it, we pump it to the Sioux City.
It seems in the past, there's been a lot of complaints about
Their odor. And we did talk to them about an odor control on that, and they're actually looking into that to possibly add some work to their existing plant to help mitigate that odor. We brought it up to them when we met with them maybe 3 months ago, and we asked them, and Andrew was in the room with us, and Jeff and Rusty, and we'd asked them to look into that, so they're monitoring some of their odor that's coming off of there, and they're gonna, be in touch with us, and we'll be in touch with them about making some improvements, because we did notify them that we've been getting complaints about some of the odor, and so they want to be proactive and want to work with the city, and so they're very forthcoming with that and want to work with us on that. So they may be coming forward with a project soon to do an odor control.
Is there any opportunity that they might cost share any portion of the lift station?
I think that's a possibility. As we get through this process and into the fall, and as we talk about the rates we set, we'll be able to understand a little bit more about what we'll need in that capacity. But until we get some more numbers, I think that's open for discussion. But, just recently, Nelson Engineering just got a building permit for a 100,000 square foot building in that area that was formerly a parking lot. So there's a lot of parking lots over there, which would have never probably been counted into the size of this lift station. But now with Gateway gone, and they're kind of repurposing some of those properties, so we have to make sure that we're situated to provide service for them. This is just an introduction. We'll bring it back to you if you please review it, and if you have any questions, please let me know, and we'll get it on the July 7th agenda for consideration.
Thank you.
Next,
I'd make a motion that we would approve this request.
That was just for information on this, at this meeting. We'll consider it
You're
for
not
next
going
time.
to approve tonight?
No, one of the things I'm trying to do is just introduce it one meeting and approve it the next meeting, so you have an opportunity
When
to.
I saw approve, your recommendation was to approve.
Oh,
I
sure.
was confused.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did I have it on there for,
not on the agenda, but in the recommendation.
okay, yeah, it shouldn't have been a recommendation yet, but.
Okay.
Next up is the Park Board introduction.
This is kind of another one in a series of introductions that I've done for you guys over the course of your start here. And this is just another one, just to kind of introduce you to what the Park Board is and what it does, and then we can kind of go from there.
I'm Janet Lingle, and I am the Vice President of the Parks and Rec Board. Our President, Walt Wendell, couldn't be here tonight, so I'm filling in for him. Other members of the board are Megan Palacios, Did I pronounce that correct? She's the secretary. Our business member is David Harris from the People's Bank. We have Faith Ratty as our alternate, and then Vince Tucker is our liaison from the commission, and then Lynn Hoffman, Dan Zaraf, and Leslie Parker are our members at large. So I do have a packet for you guys that'll have members of the board and then kind of what we're working on right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I think this will be for Chris. So right now, just for a brief update, we have visited all the parks in the city, and then we took notes of what we thought could be improvements, some weed issues and stuff like that, some boards with nails and stuff. So we also, for our second goal for the year, we want to create opportunities for the businesses and citizens to adopt either a park or a city street to help the upkeep on those. Some of the parks need some like flowers and vegetation and stuff that we could do in the future. So that's one of the things we were looking at. And then our other goal for the year is to create opportunities for the businesses and the citizens to work with the board for various events throughout the year, like our Halloween event, the holiday parade of lights, and then any other gatherings that the citizens of North Sioux City might need for entertainment. So there is a picture of each one of the parks, and then, like I said, I want to take a minute too to thank the city commission and Rusty's crew for getting the signs out at the parks. They look really nice. So I drove around and looked at them all, so they're really nice signs.
I think it's also important that we thank, and this is in your packet, thank the previous Parks and Recreation Board members, Tina Carpenter, Tammy Steamkin, Ashley Verdorn, Tamara Vagali, and Leslie Parker. They had work back in 2022, I believe, and they purchased the new signs for each of the parks, excuse me, except Centennial sign already has a special sign. But the nice thing about the new signs, it tells why is that park named, what it is, and then it also gives the the rules for the people to follow in the parks. And I think that, excuse me, they have done a great job of getting our park equipment is in pretty good shape. We have a couple areas that need some updating. So what we did with that is we also made a line item for possible capital outlay items that could be wanted or needed in each of the parks.
You know, one comment that I would make, I sat with the Library Board of Trustees and on their meeting the other day, and one of the things that I talked to them about was one really good component of having a library Board of Trustees is to provide the commission with ideas of what the community needs from the library. You know, Leanne has statistics as to, you know, what's being checked out, how it's being checked out, kind of market-driven information that really I wouldn't want to necessarily bring into the commission chambers, but it could be digested in a smaller body. The Board of Trustees can go through that kind of stuff and see if they can see some trends and some things that the city needs and what for a library and what the library needs to try to accomplish that. Maybe this park board is kind of a similar apparatus that, you know, those type of things, and with the liaison can be discussed. And I try to tell them, don't limit yourself to the dollars, because that'll just stymie your creativity. But what the commissioner's role in that is to hear what the community needs, and also to provide some insight as to what is within the realm of possibility as those ideas develop. You know, one role I could see for this is also, you know, the city has a lot of properties in the city, you know, whether it be the water tower, the Southwest lift station, other lift station sites that can be improved through just shrubs, bushes, trees, so that our sites look good too. So that could probably be rolled into this park board. You know, obviously we have a lot of priorities right now, but as we get into future years, I would really love to see a plan for city property improvement that it makes the city look better, is within a reasonable constraint of maintenance, and that kind of stuff. So I really see these kind of commissions and boards as an asset to help feed ideas up through the administration, so.
Yeah, like I said, there's some maintenance issues, but not a whole lot. So we have some really nice park equipment. If you get a minute, go around and take a look at all of them.
Thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Amy, financial report.
Okay. So our cash balance at the end of May is up 1.9, almost 2 million from April. And if we look at the cash flow statement, sorry, you can't see it very well. Our general fund, cash provided just on regular operating is up 319,000. November and April are our big property tax months, so that's the reason for that amount right there. And the other reasons for our cash increase is another draw on our water loan of just shy of $1 million, and flood recovery reimbursements from FEMA in 1.9 million. And I also sent out the May activity, so this will show you here how the months of November and May for property taxes are the big ones. And yeah.
So if you go back to the cash sheet, I wanted to,
Yep.
Amy and I had a conversation about this today. So when you look at that, it shows you where all the money is in each account, physically in an account. But if you scroll up to the balance sheet, you can kind of see where the money is at for each particular fund: general fund, water fund, sewer fund, garbage fund, flood fund. The two on the right, they'll go away once those two projects are done, and that'll all be rolled over into the water and sewer fund. But the one thing I wanted to point out to you as you look at this, you know, the enterprise fund borrowed the flood fund $5 million, $3 million from sewer and $2 million from water. So at some point, I'm hoping that happens towards the end of next year when we get all these flood projects done, that can all be reconciled and the money goes back to where it belongs. So, you know, when you look at water and sewer, it really has $5 million more in it to cover expenses. What was the other thing I wanted to show you? Accumulated depreciation, line 1650. When you look at that line item across, you know, we've accumulated $4.8 million worth of accumulated depreciation in the water fund at 4.7. In my mind, we should have a large fraction of that in our reserves waiting to replace those funds that we've collected for. So when you look at that 10 million, just know that there are some restricted, in my mind, there's restricted dollars in there. I mean, we've got We've collected that cash, but didn't have any expenses on the depreciation part of it. So that money should be in our account, and when we're ready to make improvements, we don't have to pay for it all with loan. We can leverage that up and make decisions based on that. So there's a lot to go through on these financial statements, but what we're trying to do is show you on the cash flow statement what our individual funds are generating or using in cash every month, so you know where the deficits and surpluses actually are. And deficits aren't always deficits because it can be timing with property tax, the way it comes in, the way sales tax comes in. And on the water side, it kind of depends. In the summertime, we have more revenue than we do in the wintertime because just more people are using water. So there's a lot of cyclical stuff in here. We have to keep some cash on hand for working capital. So again, like I said, we're trying to portray to you is a cash flow statement so you can see where the cash is coming in, coming out, and the debt service associated with our operation. And right now we have two pretty good sized loans on the water and sewer side that will require significant debt service over the coming years, but on the general fund side, we don't have any debt at this point. So. I want to get it down just to the general fund, water fund, sewer fund, and garbage fund. And that'll come in time.
Yep. Thank you. Approval of bills.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Organizational, consideration of personnel manual changes.
Yeah, this was presented to you at the last commission meeting. It's mainly cosmetic and it has to do with the change of form from council to commission. There is a couple items in there that Sarah changed to reflect changes in state and federal law, correct?
Correct. As we had our eyes on that, it didn't make sense to me to come back and do that later. So we made a few edits there that were things that I thought the city should update since the last time it was reviewed back in '23 by other council. So there are some pretty standard changes that I don't think are significant. Unless you have any questions, I'd be happy to highlight or discuss any of those in greater detail.
And just like the other changes we've made, we're mainly making changes to keep moving forward. I think we'll have some more changes in both ordinance, especially the zoning ordinance, and maybe our personnel manual as we as we accomplish some other priorities. And then when we come back, we will have probably some more changes, but we'll save that for another time.
I motion to adopt the changes.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Can someone make a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
I'll second.
Third.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.